Hello, it's Delete the 12 here. I want to talk about the night of Raw. Hijack RAW, huh? Chicago, Chi-Town. One of the toughest crowds ever. And there are many tough crowds, but Chicago probably ranked in the top 3. But let me tell you this, man. They had this all through Twitter, all through Facebook, they had this thing called Hijack RAW. Even there was a Twitter account saying Chicago Raw crowd. Their operation was to hijack Raw, boo everybody, and make a mission to get CM Punk back in the WWE. Now, unfortunately though, this Hijack RAW was an operation fail. Let me go through Raw. I mean, if I gotta go through Raw, let's state it like this. Although the crowd, I gotta admit, was probably the highlight of the night. There was some great moments. One of the great, probably the top ranked, is the Usos. Finally, the WWE Tag Team Champions. Well deserved. It's about time. And let's see how long they can hold those titles, especially with WrestleMania right around the corner. But now, well, actually, I should say this because there's gonna be a rematch on the main event show. Well, the show main event, I should say, between the Usos and the New Age Outlaws with the titles on the line. But it was a pretty good match, man. I really loved the match. Also, we saw Dolph Ziggler face Alberto Del Rio, and Dolph Ziggler arrived with the guest host, Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad and the upcoming new movie Need for Speed. They arrived in a Shelby Mustang, which is awesome. And with a little distraction from Aaron Paul, Dolph Ziggler got the win over Del Rio. That was pretty fun. Also, a lot of these teams, and man, I've been, like I said a few months ago, this tag team division was hot. But now we're seeing a lot of dissension within a number of teams. Today we saw dissension with the Shield when they faced the Wyatts, another anticipated match of the night. Great matchup, but of course Ambrose was running buck wild and causing some problems with the Shield. Seth Rollins was ruling the match, but of course it was Ambrose. Got involved, and at one point when Seth went to make the tag, Ambrose was distracted by Bray Wyatt. He went after Bray Wyatt. Roman went after him to stop him, and Seth couldn't make the tag. And then later in the match, it was like this. Ambrose was about to make the tag to Seth Rollins. Seth jumps down off the apron, and he walked away. Roman Reigns was like, "What are you doing?" He said Seth was tired of being the glue to the Shield. He was playing, all the time he was playing peacemaker. He was trying to keep the Shield together, and he eventually got tired of it. And it's like, "I'm done. I'm through." So he just walked away. He was just basically on the ramp the whole rest of the match. Ambrose was nearly done. Roman Reigns became the MVP again. He took over the match, taking out most of the Wyatts. He speared, who did he spear? He speared Eric Rowan over the announce table. And then Luke Harper dives through the middle rope, suicide dive, plancha, nailing Rollins and sent him over the table. And then it was like Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose. Bray Wyatt did his thing with Sister Abigail. Seth Rollins was still at the ramp. Camera caught Seth Rollins still at the ramp just watching. And the Wyatts got the win. So what does this mean for the Shield? Is this the end of the Shield? Has the Shield finally been drained? I said this, man. I really hope Roman Reigns is going to be the man, and he deserves to be champion. Same with Seth Rollins, because like I said, I saw him in Ring of Honor. He's one of the athletic guys of it. He definitely deserves to be in the top spot, too. But knowing how WWE is, knowing how Triple H and Stephanie and them are, and I hate to say this, I would not be surprised if Dean Ambrose is the one that becomes the champion, the major champion, the WWE World Champion. And I just personally think Ambrose is a waste. I mean, he's crazy. I mean, he can work the mic a little bit. I'll admit that. He can work the mic a little bit. And he's a little crazy. And WWE like a little crazy people. But I think, when it comes to talent, man, it's Reigns and Rollins. I don't think Ambrose really has it. I just can't really take him too seriously. And then before the night, and I kind of saw, and we all kind of saw this thing. Now, at the beginning of the night, I should say this. They played CM Punk's music. People got excited. But who comes out? Paul Heyman. And he lays a pipe bomb about Punk. And then he goes on to this thing about The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, saying Brock Lesnar's going to break The Undertaker's streak. And then Brock Lesnar getting interrupted by Mark Henry. They go into a brawl. Brock hits the F5 through the announcer's table on Mark Henry. And it was just brutal. Also, Big E was in the matchup against Antonio Cesaro, the rematch from last week. And it was a pretty good match. Once again, but what happens? Jack Swagger gets involved. There was one point when Cesaro threw Big E out the ring. The ref was distracted. Swagger went to attack Big E. He got caught and sent to the barricade. I think, was it the barricade or the steps? I don't remember exactly. And then the match continues. Cesaro hit his giant swing. And then out of nowhere, Swagger swoops in and hits this Swagger bomb, causing DQ, awarding Big E the win. And then they get into a little brawl. Well, not a brawl. They get into a little argument, I should say. And then afterwards, Big E hit the big ending on Cesaro. And then later on, we find out Big E is going to wrestle again. This time against Swagger. And then as soon as the match starts, you hear the bell ring. They circle around. Cesaro sneaks in, nails Big E with the neutralizer. And they said to Swagger, now we're even. And then Swagger was not happy, shoved Cesaro twice. Cesaro was going to go for the giant swing, but Zev said, don't do it. Don't give in to the people. Don't do it. So he didn't do it. Held Swagger up. They hug it out. And then they did their We the People. And that was it. But sooner or later, I mean, this is all going to come to head at WrestleMania. Like I said, Shield, the Real Americans, done by WrestleMania. Hands down. I'm calling it right now. And then, of course, Daniel Bryan was going to be facing Batista. He said he wants to hijack Raw. He's listening to the crowd. The crowd's not getting Punk, but they still got Daniel Bryan, who's basically closest to Punk. You know, their Ring of Honor days and such. And Triple H comes out. Daniel Bryan still demanding he wants a match with Triple H at WrestleMania. Triple H says no. He's scared. I think Triple H is scared. And that's just all through that segment, the people were booing the hell out of Triple H and Stephanie. They just flooded the place with boos. Man, I tell you, man, this is, like I've been saying, I've never ever seen this wrestling business just go buck wild when it comes to these fans today. It is just insane. And I bet, like I said, it's definitely the old school fans. The old school fans, because they don't want to see Cena, they don't want to see Orton, they're tired of Batista, they don't want Triple H, they don't want Stephanie, they want to see Daniel Bryan, they want to see CM Punk, they want to see Dolph Ziggler, they want to see, you know, those guys that deserve to be in the main event spot, not the same old guys. I mean, it's a different time now than it was 20 years ago when the Attitude Era had arrived. You know, when it was like 20, 15 years ago, I should say. It wasn't like this when it was Austin and Rock. It wasn't like this when it was Hogan, Flair, Bret Hart, Ultimate Warrior, those guys. It's just ballistic. And then eventually later on at the end of the night, it was Daniel Bryan versus Batista. Orton comes out to be, you know, spectator. He gets involved. Well, actually what happened was it was a pretty good match. I'll admit that. Back and forth. Daniel Bryan was taking control. But then out came the Authority. They come in to distract Bryan. As Daniel Bryan was going to get ready, I guess, go for that knee. The knee plus, that's the new name, the knee plus. Orton comes in, attacks Daniel Bryan. Then he was ready to attack Batista, went for an RKO. Batista shoves Orton into the knee. And then Bryan hits the drop kick to Batista. Kane gets on the apron, knocked out Kane. And it was just all ballistic craziness throughout. And it was basically, it ended up turning to be everybody against Daniel Bryan. Orton tried to take out Bryan. Kane took out Bryan. Batista took out Bryan. Triple H tried to get involved too. But it was at the end, when Triple H was about to badmouth Daniel Bryan when he was down on the floor, on the canvas, I should say. Triple H got kicked in the face, and then as about to go after, and then he was gonna go after him. Batista hits a Batista bomb on Daniel Bryan, and then Triple H removes his gear, removes his clothes, and then hits the pedigree on Daniel Bryan, and then standing above him were the Authority members. Well, here's the thing, man. I don't know what's going on with this wrestling business. I mean, it's just insane. I'm personally thinking, WrestleMania is not going to be great. I mean, as much as we got Hogan hosting in the Hall of Fame's looking hot, I'm worried about WrestleMania. I think the match of the night is probably going to be Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. No one's going to care about Orton and Batista. No one's going to care about Cena and Bray Wyatt. I mean, most likely, everybody going to want Bray Wyatt to win because they hate John Cena. People are not going to care about, I don't even know what other matches. Well, those two matches, I don't know about some of the other matches that are going to be there. Are we going to see Daniel Bryan and Triple H? We might. I'm hoping. And I hope Bryan really whips Triple H. But I think the more anticipated match in this case right now is Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. But of course, personally me, I was hoping we were going to get Sting, but that's not going to happen. Anyways, that's it, man. I just think the Hijack RAW thing was kind of an epic fail. Kind of let me down. Kind of let a lot of us down. We were expecting something really exciting and memorable, and it just, what can I say? It just didn't go too well. So, I mean, it was exciting. I mean, I'll admit it was partly excitement, but at the same time, though, I think the crowd kind of let us down, let us wrestling fans down. But it is what it is, and we'll see what happens from here on in. A few weeks to WrestleMania. Anything can happen. It is one. All right. That's it for me. Peace.